Phillies on top.
But this club just does not die.
He's under it. He's got it. And the game is over. Vasquez swung on, crushed, and the Phillies are going to lead it 4-0. Just a towering fly ball to straightaway left. Schwarber was ready. Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever Max Miners Report here at the AAT Sports Network. As always, for the first time ever, I'm Adam. I'm your host. Come to you live here on Sunday. If you're a follower and big fan of the AAT Sports Network, make sure you like, subscribe to all the other shows. Usually on Tuesdays, we do the Frankly Phillies podcast, focus on all things Phillies. However, we are splitting that show into two, so we'll still have Frankly Phil's on Tuesdays, and then on Sundays we'll have Max Miners, where we discuss kind of all things, Phillies farm system, all the way from low A, all the way up to triple A. One thing we're kind of doing with these shows, are going to go a little bit further away from an hour-long show each time, and to be some smaller shows, kind of just short and sweet and to the point. So we're going to get right into it. If you can tell by the title of the show, we're going to talk about the mid-season minor league MVPs for each team, all the way from low A, all the way up to triple A. So we're going to start right up at triple A. In my opinion, it's probably the most boring of the four Phillies minor league teams. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs are pretty mediocre this year. The pitching's been, quite frankly, has been fairly awful, but they do have a lot of good talent down in triple A. We've seen Jake Cave play a little bit when he was filling in for Bryce Harper. Drew Ellis filled a little bit in for Alec Boehm. We saw a bunch of relief pitchers make appearances with the Phillies, go back down to AAA, and kind of vice versa. Obviously, Scotty Jetpacks Kingery is still in AAA right now for them. But we're going to really focus on one guy that hasn't made the team this year. I really think it should get a little bit more attention, and that's going to be Simone Muzziotti, Phillies 10th rated prospect. He spent a little time on the club in September of last year when the roster expanded. Didn't see any time in the playoffs. Hasn't been part of the club this year. Kind of gone a little bit under the radar with the additions of Jake Cave and Drew Ellis back into AAA with Lehigh Valley. But really, Simone Muzziotti, I've seen him play a bunch of times this year. He is the MVP for the Iron Pigs this year. If you want to stat watch, go right ahead. His stats aren't amazing. They're nothing crazy, nothing that really screams this guy needs to be called up right away. My favorite thing about Simone Muzziotti, how confident he plays. One thing that goes beyond the stat line, he has, I believe, over 5 to 6 games where he's either hit a walk-off or a go-ahead hit. He continuously steps up in big situations. He's not afraid. He's had multiple at-bats against, top prospects in Major League Baseball, pitchers on rehab assignments, and he's playing really, really confident. Even not just at bat, in the field, he's making big throws, making big plays. He's not afraid to make that throw from outfield to try to throw a guy out at home or second base. He plays with so much confidence. I think, truthfully, the Iron Pigs would be in a lot worse position if it wasn't for him. Now, as someone that's been following the Iron Pigs and been to a lot of games this season, obviously I don't want to see Muzziotti go. However, I really think he could benefit the Phillies very, very much, just because of how his confidence level. I don't think there's going to be any nerves or any learning curves really with him once he gets up to gets called up to the MLB. Just because of how confident he's played all season long. So I really have been a fan of Simone Muzziotti this year. I think he's going to be next in line. It's just really tough because you have guys like Jake Cave, who's had some of the MLB experience, who's been lighting it up statistically. You obviously have Drew Ellis that spent a little time on the Phillies and did really, really well. So he does have a lot of guys ahead of him. Unfortunately, Simone Muzziotti could be a guy that's on the move at this year's deadline. The Phillies have been linked to a bunch of different guys. Right now, Muzziotti could be one of those guys on the move just because Phillies have a lot of depth at the outfield position. This would be different. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, and this was him. He would have been called up by now. But right now, I think Samu Musiati is going to be that MVP for you guys down in AAA. So moving to AA with the Red and Fighting Phils. This it was a tough one to go with. I'm actually going to go 2 MVPs for AA. One pitcher, one hitter. I'm going to start with the pitcher. I know when it comes to the pitchers down in AA, there's 3 that people are going to really, really focus in on. Top 3, top prospect in the Phillies, Andrew Painter. Phillies' second-rated prospect, Mick Abel, and now the Phillies' fourth-rated prospect, Griff McGarry. Painter, as we know, he was a high contention for that Phillies 5th starter spot. Got hurt during spring training. Hasn't seen the field. He's only started throwing bullpen sessions just a few weeks ago. Unsure when we're going to see him in games. Hopefully get to see him up in soon, but unfortunately he's not going to be the MVP. Griff McGarry started the season hurt. Came back, had some rough starts, rocky starts, but really has looked solid in recent starts. But when it comes to my pitching MVP for Reading, it's going to be Mick Abel. It has to be. Phillies number 2 prospect. He's only 21 years old. He's started 12 games, 4.53 ERA. Again, it's pretty high in the eyes of the MLB, but for minor league baseball, that's a pretty average to kind of low ERA when you look at the grand scheme of things. He's pitched 55 innings, had 64 strikeouts, has a WHIP of 129. There's some starts where he obviously is going to struggle here and there. He's still very, very young. But then there's starts where he doesn't give up hits, or he gives up just 1 hit, or he strikes out a bunch. He's had a lot of great starts this year, and I think that really is evidence of how good of a player he is. We're all focused on Andrew Painter, how good Andrew Painter is. Mick Abel, I'm starting to get really, really hyped on and really, really excited for. There's no injury concerns right there for you. Knock on wood right now. He's going to have some rough starts. Do I think he's ready to be called up to the MLB right now? Absolutely not. I still think this is going to be a 2024 player we see here. But he really has at least earned that position or promotion up to to AAA. He's had solid starts. His control of the strike zone has been phenomenal. He's a hard-throwing fastball pitcher. He's starting to go a little bit later into games. He's starting to get to the 5th, 6th inning. So I'm really starting to fall in love with Mick Abel. And right now, I honestly would put Mick Abel over Andrew Painter. If right now both players healthy, say in a month or so, the Phillies have to call up either Andrew Painter or Mick Abel, I'm going Mick Abel right now. There is no injury concerns right now. He's shown that he's been reliable, majority of the time. He is a solid pitcher. He's able to strike batters out. That's the big thing. He's been unhittable. He really has been an unhittable hitter this year. So I really want to push for Mick Abel to kind of get that promotion to AAA. Hopefully we can still see that kind of consistent production and real dominance at the AAA level for him. And honestly, maybe even when the rosters expand in September, he could be a possible call-up. But really, I think 2024 is when we're going to see Mick Abel kind of join, the discussion for that rotation. If he can stay healthy, I don't see a reason why he's not a starter for the Phillies next year. That's how dominant of a pitcher he is. So he's going to be my pitching MVP down in AA. When it comes to hitting, I think there's only one option. It's going to be Carlos De La Cruz. He's just a big power hitter. He's currently the Phillies' number 9 prospect. He's a power bat. He's played a mix of time between first base and corner outfield. Obviously right now we don't have a dire need at corner outfield with Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos. Once he becomes healthy, Bryce Harper. But in maybe 2 to 3 years, when those contracts are up for Schwarber or in Castellanos, when they decide to move up, Carlos De La Cruz, he screams big time power designated hitter. He's such a long ball. He's going to be that type of guy to give you 30, possibly even 40 home runs in a season. He's such a big bat for that lineup. Now, he is going to strike out a lot. He is going to draw walks a lot. He's going to hit a lot of doubles. However, he's such a power bat. Everyone's biggest complaint with Schwarber is he strikes out a lot. Schwarber is a power hitter. Carlos De La Cruz is a power hitter. He's been one of the better hitters in all of AA this year. So I really think he's a guy that you need to kind of keep an eye on right now. Right now, is he ready to get called up to major leagues? Probably not. He's still probably another year or 2 away. but there's a lot of players kind of around him right now that we're kind of quite concerned are going to take the spot. But really, honestly, when Schwarber, Castellanos are done in Philadelphia, if they decide to trade them in a year or so, opt out of their contracts, do whatever they want to do with them, I really feel Carlos De La Cruz is going to step up into that position and be that corner outfielder, be a designated hitter. Because, we want to get Harper back into the lineup. Carlos De La Cruz, he's not a great fielder. He's not, not an awful fielder. I don't see him as much of a hindrance as kind of like, say, a Kyle Schwarber or per se. But he's such a big bat. We're biggest issue with the Phillies lineup this season is they're really missing the Rhys Hoskins 30 home runs, missing that power bat out of Rhys Hoskins. Carlos De La Cruz, he's that type of player that he's going to be able to drive in runs. He's going to be able to hit the ball, the long ball. I really, really think, in 2 or 3 years, he's going to be either a corner outfielder or he's going to be a designated hitter starting for the Phillies every day, just because of how dominant he really is. But comes with any power hitters, he is very wavy. Like, he has his games where he is, 5 for 5 with, 3 home runs, 2 doubles. But then there are, stretches of games where he doesn't get many hits. So, hopefully in the next couple of years, we get to kind of see more of him and he can kind of balance himself out just ever so slightly. But really, truly, keep an eye on Carlos De La Cruz. I really, he's been the MVP hitting wise down in AA. There's been a couple other guys, Ethan Wilson, that have been down there. AA with the Reading Fighting Phils, they've been really underperforming a lot this season. There hasn't been much to talk about. Mick Abel and Carlos De La Cruz, they're for me the two obvious ones. But they do have a lot of talent down there. So keep an eye on a bunch of other guys. Let's move up down to high A. There's a bunch of guys actually in high A that really, really I'm kind of excited for. And I haven't had much to really watch as much, but one guy I really, really like, Orion Kirkering. Excuse me. The Phillies number 21 rated prospect. He started the year down in low A, got promoted to high A. I'll talk to you a little bit about how he did in low A. I kid you not. He pitched 9 innings in low A this year. He did not give up a hit in all those 9 innings. 9 individual starts, 9 innings, 9 believe it was 10 strikeouts in 9 innings. He was absolutely unbelievable. He was unhittable. He looks like a future Phillies reliever. He got to high A ball with any promotion. He struggled for the first couple of games, and he's really come together in recent starts. So he's appeared in 24 games this year. He has 3 wins. He's a .98 ERA, 7 saves, 43 strikeouts, and a whip of .69. Without question, probably the best overall relief pitcher the Phillies have in their farm system right now. Mick Abel, Painter, Griff McGarry, guys like that, they're starters. Kirkering is a relief pitcher. And I think in the next couple of years, if he can continue to progress, there really isn't a reason why he couldn't be in that discussion as one of the best pitching prospects from the Phillies. That's how dominant he really is. How old is he? Right now, he's only 22, so he's still fairly young. Hasn't really hit that peak max for him yet. He started obviously in low A. Now he's been promoted to high A. I really think, a promotion to double A is going to be in his future, either by end of the season, or as late as next season. I was nervous for him after the first couple, games, but since the first 2 games, he's come back to reality. And even in those games where he struggled, I'm saying struggle, he gave up 2 hits, and I think is the most he gave up in a game. He really has been just a lights out reliever. He's that type of guy that comes into the 9th inning, and I know we're going to win because we have the best relief pitcher on the field that day. Obviously with that development and production, we got to keep seeing, make sure he keeps continuing to develop, once he gets to AA, AAA, the majors. But he definitely is a guy to keep an eye out in high A ball right now. Let's kind of move on to some hitting guys down in. See if I can break it up real quick. Where is he? Oh my God, why? Okay. Well, I don't have the stats in front of me, but Phillies number 5 prospect, Hao-Yu Lee. He's not a guy I've been had an opportunity to watch as much. Kind of in the last couple of days, I've been able to sit down and kind of watch his stats. His biggest downfall is he plays second base, which obviously the Phillies, again, knock on wood, have their future long-time second baseman in Bryson Stott. But he's a really, really, solid hitter. He's not going to be a guy to hit the ball long. He's not going to be a guy to, hit you 20, 30 home runs in a season. He really is as like a leadoff hitter guy. He can get on base for you. He's decently good speed. He can get you doubles. He can stretch singles into doubles. He can stretch doubles into triples. He's been a really solid bat. His numbers aren't outrageously high. They're not anything to be spectacular about, but he's been a really consistent bat. He's been a reliable bat for Jersey Shore. Nothing outrageous. There's a lot of other guys in the minors who have been flashier, have been maybe had bigger performances. He's been just very steady. We've seen it with a lot of guys, and it's been every major league guy, minor league guy. They have these really good stints, and then they kind of fall below. Really good stints, then they fall below. Hao-Yu Lee's just been kind of consistent. He's having really good games. He's having decent games. He's not having many really bad games. He's just not putting up the huge flashy numbers right now. So Hao-Yu Lee for Jersey Shore, keep an eye on him. I'm really, really starting to kind of fall in love with him. It sucks with a lot of these guys, especially positions we don't have huge needs at, specifically him at second base. He could be a trade piece right now. With all these guys, I don't see Carlos De La Cruz being a trade piece. Mick Abel is definitely not a trade piece unless we're getting Shohei Ohtani. Kerkering could possibly be one. I think I probably value him a lot more as a player for the future than most fans right now. He could also be a trade piece, and truthfully, Lee could be a trade piece right now. Just because of what we have at second base, but kind of moving on to the last MVP, we're gonna move to low A ball with the Clearwater Threshers. All right, we're gonna move to the Clearwater Threshers, and I think there's no question. If you haven't been following Clearwater at all, this is literally the best minor league baseball team in all of baseball right now. They're the first team to clinch a playoff spot. They've just been such a dominant team in all of 2023. And there's been one player, in my opinion. There's been a lot. I mean, the whole team has been just overperforming left and right. And even guys, they've had a lot of promotions throughout the season. My favorite guy has been Justin Crawford. Philly's third-ranked prospect right now. He just got named to top 100 overall prospects in all of baseball. Philly's first overall pick in 2022. He's 19 years old, son of MLB All-Star Carl Crawford. Without question, I think Justin Crawford, he looks like a future Silver Slugger. He looks like a future Philadelphia Phillies All-Star. Just how confident he plays at the bat. He started the season in rookie ball, got promoted to low A ball this season. He's been one of the best players in all of baseball and minor league baseball this season. Looking at his stats, currently batting .346, OBP of .395, OPS of .851. He doesn't have homers. He's not a big long ball guy. He is going to be probably a future leadoff guy type to get on base. 63 hits, 32 RBIs, 32 stolen bases, and 34 runs. He's super quick on the base paths. He's very aggressive. He's not afraid to take the extra bag, take the extra step. He can make singles into doubles, and every time you watch a Clearwater Threshers game, he's having bigger and bigger at bats. He's getting more and more confident. And honestly, I can see him in the next 2 years getting that call up to be a Philly. That's how quick I think his development is going to go for him. And I always say, usually I say this, it usually pans out. Usually the best player on the best team is a pretty good damn player. He's the best player on the best minor league team. And this is low A, high A, double A, triple A across all 32 baseball teams. 30 baseball teams. Thinking about how many players that is and how many teams, Clearwater has been the best minor league baseball team in all of baseball this year. They've, it's just not even just Crawford. It's the pitching's been unbelievable. They're getting, great starts from their starters. The relievers are coming in and being lights out. If there's games where their pitching gives up a few runs, their bats are just, there's such a deep lineup. And Crawford's been the heart and soul of that lineup. He was getting a lot of starts at the leadoff position. He's kind of been mixing. Most of his starts have come in outfield. He can play all three positions. I think he's a future center fielder. You know, keeping Brandon Marsh for the long term is not a guarantee. I'm not sure. I think he's under contract for just a couple more years. They could move on from Brandon Marsh in a few years. We don't really know these things, but Justin Crawford right now is the type of guy that we're gonna find a place for him in this lineup. He's not a guy I want to trade. He's one of like 8 guys right now that are untradeable for me in our farm system. And we're slowly getting to the point where like I'm willing to kind of maybe move the other 7, but he's just so untouchable because of how good I really think he's going to be. And I really firmly believe in the next like 5 or 6 years, he's a future batting champ. He's a future all-star. He's a future Silver Slugger. Defense, nothing spectacular. Nothing, to be, oh my God, we have a future Gold Glove winner. He's reliable. He's solid. Nothing crazy right now, but Justin Crawford, without question, has been the MVP for Clearwater. So he's a really solid guy. I really am excited to see the kind of more what he's able to do. I expect a promotion to Double-A at some point near future. They sure can use him down in up in Double-A. Between him, Carlos De La Cruz, adding Justin Crawford in the mix with guys like Jalen Ortiz could help Reading kind of take a step from a pretty awful team right now to pretty mediocre. So it's pretty exciting. There's a lot more talent down in the farm systems, like lower end, that people don't really kind of realize right now. But obviously with coming with a deep farm system means a lot of guys could be on the move via trade. I don't think Crawford's a guy, and I don't think Carlos De La Cruz is a guy. Hao-Yu Lee, I think, is possibly a possible trade piece right now for the club. So he's a guy to keep a lookout for. But this has been a lot of fun. This has obviously been the first Max Minor Report. We're going to be doing this every Sunday. And obviously, they're not going to be super long episodes. They're going to be fairly short, 20 to 30 minutes, short and sweet and to the point. Nothing crazy, nothing exciting, because most people get bored after about 20 to 30 minutes anyway. So pretty short episodes. We'll have some special guests popping in from here to time. Next week, we'll have Josh Sperber. He is the voice of the Clearwater Threshers, so he'll be able to give us a good perspective of what's really happening down in Clearwater, what has really been the excitement down there. We'll get some different Phillies prospects, some guys down the farm system going. So it's a lot of fun. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share to all your friends and family, your enemies, your neighbors, your boss, your coworkers, Debbie from finance, whoever you want. Make sure you tune in every Tuesday to the Frankly Phils podcast right here on the AAT Sports Network, where you get to hear all things Phillies about the Fightins. And then on Sundays, obviously, the Max Miners reporting the farm and hear what's going on from low A ball all the way up to Triple-A. So as always, I'm Adam Mack, and we will see you all Tuesday and next Sunday. See ya.